Welcome to Dick Morris Democracy. I'm Dick Morris. The Democratic Party donkey is held up like all donkeys by four legs: blacks, Latinos, college-educated women, and millennials. Working with pollster John McLaughlin and pundit John Jordan, I'm doing polls to figure out how to bring the donkey down. We've discussed how to raise Republican support among Hispanics on this show. By stressing patriotism and the uniqueness of America, we make our party attractive to those whose families chose to come here, escaping tyranny, corruption, drugs, and policies that mirror very closely those of the new progressive wing of the Democratic Party. Now let's look at how to attract African American voters to vote Republican. And remember that if we succeed only a little, it could be a death blow to Democratic hopes. To win, Democrats need to get upwards of 90% of the black vote. So to figure this out, McLaughlin, Jordan, and I did a survey of 1,000 black voters across the country. We found that the key to unlocking the African American vote is gender. Black men are twice as likely to vote for Trump and 2.5 times more likely to be Republican as African American women. The fact is that the Democratic Party and its new radical progressive leadership has forgotten all about black men. Consider that Biden is running around trying to find a black woman for the Supreme Court. Hello? What about a black man? With this appointment, there would be 4 women on the court out of 9 and only 1 black conservative man, Clarence Thomas, a Republican. Yet the central reality is that the breakdown of the nuclear family structure in the black community is the key cause of black poverty, not racism, absent fathers. The American Enterprise Institute calculated that the poverty rate in married black households was 3/4 lower than when the household was headed by a single parent. But 7 out of 10 of all black children are being raised without a father. Only one income with no male role model, a recipe for poverty, both financial and psychological. But Democrats don't seem to care. Delano Squires, an African-American contributor to Blaze TV, wrote that despite the huge amount of data showing that the breakdown of the nuclear family has been disastrous for the black community, discussing it is verboten in Democratic circles. There's the sense among liberal elites that discussing this issue might somehow offend black voters, the Democrats' traditional base. But Squires points out that in most black elite families, they raise their own children in nuclear-married 2-person households. But they preach what he calls democratic orthodoxy, that single parenting is just fine. The emphasis used to be on lifting up black men so that they can anchor the nuclear family, but the left has passed them by. Indeed, the black feminist community focuses so much on the needs of black women to the exclusion of black men and families. Feminism is pervasive. It's often an anti-male message and a worship of the female gender. Black feminists often see black men as their competitor. For generations during slavery and after, the black family was the bedrock upon which African Americans depended. And that family featured a unity and an interdependence between the genders. But now black men are often seen as oppressors and exploiters, not as the partners that they are and should be. Affirmative action programs favor black women. As black and women, they're a twofer, as opposed to black men. Black Lives Matter's platform preached against the nuclear family, boasting that, quote, "We disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as an extended family in villages that collectively care for one another." This position was deleted from their platform last year, but it still lives on in the hearts of the movement. My guest today puts this revolutionary change in perspective. He's Reverend Conrad Bennett Tillard, Jr., pastor of the Flatbush Tompkins Congregational Church in Brooklyn. He says that the Democratic Party emphasis on affirmative action is leaving many black men behind. He told me that in a typical upscale African-American family, the woman has benefited from affirmative action much more than the man. She's a managing partner of some firm, and he has a shingle hanging outside his door saying attorney at law and has to struggle for clients. In the Democratic platform for the 2020 election, there is not one single mention of the word marriage, apart from a focus on foreign forced marriages. Squires recalls how former President Obama was viciously attacked by his fellow liberals for talking about the importance of marriage and fatherhood. They wanted him to focus on more resources for single mothers and their children and not, quote, pathologize black family dynamics. Michael Eric Dyson on MSNBC spoke of the magical black daddy myth about how the nuclear family will solve everything. He advocates individual reparations bank accounts for African Americans. The feminists and the progressives have taken over so much of the Democratic Party. For example, the dogma of the left gives priority to gay trans athletes over straight women and girls by letting them compete and win in female sports. Once the Democrats led the way in demanding equal treatment for girls' sports. Now they call that sexist and want trans athletes to be able to defeat girls every time. Reverend Tillard, my guest today, speaks of the Democratic Party's neglect of black families as a warning to them to get them to pay more attention to these potentially swing voters. He's a Democrat. I'm a Republican. So my priority is to take him away. But the facts are plain. In his Supreme Court pick and his exclusion of black men from consideration, Biden has laid bare the Democratic priority and has no room for African American men. Republicans should continue to criticize the social agenda of the left and affirm our support for racial equality, colorblind government, and women's rights, even when the modern progressives turn away. Our support for patriotism is very attractive to Hispanic voters who fled tyranny to come to America. And so by emphasizing the rights of parents to oversee their own child's understanding of sex and gender, to guide his or her exposure to modern culture, and to make sure women don't have to compete with trans athletes, we will appeal to the black community. So to help us understand the changing dynamics of that community, let's turn to Reverend Tillard, who has served in Harlem and Roxbury in Boston, Bedford-Stuyvesant